Hi guys, I'm Bibinella, and today I wanted to make a little update video, like a little follow-up to an old video of mine that I made in 2016 about my drawing and coloring process. Obviously that changed now, so yeah, I wanted to update it a little bit. Other than that, the video is not scripted, obviously. I'm just gonna rumble about whatever while drawing and give some insight on how I come up with a little sketch. So, first of all, we can talk about the brushes I use. I normally try to stick with the same kind of brushes throughout the whole drawing, and it depends on the kind of feeling I want to give to say drawing. Recently I've been using a lot of Turnip Pen, which is this one. You can see it up here, and it's a very clean brush. You can see that it has clean edges, and it's a smooth one. It's a really nice one for inking as well, if you want very clean outline. But I find myself interested also to use it for sketching, because I can find myself getting loose with it, you know. So this is one of the brushes I use. There is another one that I really like as well, and that is the Heyo Soft or Heyo Soft, I don't know. And I found this one on the Clip Studio Paint marketplace. You can find a lot of free and paid brushes in there. Also, yeah, obviously, the software I'm using to draw is Clip Studio Paint, which is a really amazing software. Okay, so this brush gives a very pencil-y feeling, and I genuinely love it so much, because you can draw something super soft and then like create a new layer and make it look really hard. This is a good brush. I love it so much. So yeah, I either use a sort of soft looking brush like this one that can turn into something harsher, or I use the other one, which is basically just a harsh brush. So for the sake of this little tutorial, I'm gonna use mostly the Turnip Pen. Okay, so if we talk about drawing a character, first of all, I have to think about what kind of vibe do I want to give to say character. Usually I try to avoid faces. If we're talking about faces, I try to avoid faces looking directly in front of them. So going for 3/4 and profiles, and something like looking 3/4 up, 3/4 down, or maybe like the body pointing towards a direction, the head pointing towards another one, you know, just to give some kind of more dynamic feeling to it. So obviously the first thing that I do is start with the head, and I make a rough shape for the head, like this. And wherever I choose to point, like the eyes or whatever, I get like a mental note. Like I decide, oh, it's looking there. So I kinda direct the character looking there. So I know that the character is looking towards there. And oh, sorry, my Clip Studio Paint was auto-saving. So I just try to okay, so this is a rough idea. I should have probably scripted this, but it's okay. Okay, so now I know where the character is looking. From here, I either continue to add some details on the sketch layer, or I create a new layer, lower the opacity of this one, and I work on that one. For now, let's just add some layer, some depth and other things, some details in this one. So I'm just gonna make a random guy. Right. This is the bust I'm gonna make. So when I have the idea, I just lower the opacity here on the right, and then I create a new layer. And then I start working from there and try to make it a bit more detailed. Again, I don't have to be super clean, but just to give a cleaner look to it. Another thing that I do often is flip the canvas, and that really helps me maintain good proportions, because if something looks off when it's flipped, it means that it's not balanced or proportioned, like the perspective is off or something. And this is a really, really good thing to do. I kinda try to use a bit the lines that I made on the sketch as a guideline. It doesn't have to be strict, but I kinda know like that this has to happen here, and on this axis there are the eyes. I kinda know that. For example, now I can see that the eyes are not matching. So I'm just gonna use my selection tool, lasso, and just tweak things a little bit, you know. Another good thing to do is sometimes to select the whole drawing that you're making and use the transform tool So I usually use, I'm using a Windows computer. I use Ctrl T, and if I press Ctrl while moving, it makes me change things without being locked in a specific format. So like I tweak it a little bit, I change a few things. This is all about trying to fix things all the time, changing things. Okay. So we have kind of the idea here, right? From here, I can either clean it a bit or I can start coloring it. So let me just clean it for just a little bit. So just erasing things that are outside the line. Maintaining a very thick outline can be really helpful to color faster and easier. Okay, so here we have some kind of sketch, right? Now we can start the coloring process. First of all, let me just reduce the canvas. Okay. Also, the head is a bit too big, so I'm just gonna reduce it slightly. Cool. Yes. First thing you can do, usually, because I don't like having just black line art, right? I change the mode of the canvas that I'm using, sorry, the layer that I'm using, from normal to multiply, and then I lock the transparency of the layer so that I can use the color wheel here and change it to a different color, a bit brighter, and then with Alt Delete it fills up the whole canvas with the same color. It's like the fill bucket. Now, having a colored line art can be really interesting, when you color, because if you have multiply set as blending mode, based on the colors they're going to be on layers below this one, the color of the line art is gonna change. So to show you that, I'm just gonna create a new layer under the, let's call it line art. So on this layer, let me pick up some color for the skin. Okay, for example, this color. You might not notice well, but the color of the line art above has changed. My saving again. Okay. It's not that noticeable, but you can see that if I color pick the eyebrow, it's a darker shade than, for example, a piece of the line art on the hair. You can see it a bit, but yeah, it's way more noticeable if the color, like the shades of the colors are bigger. I tend to pick up, for example, the skin first, because it's usually the layer that gets below every other layers. Usually, it depends on the drawing though. So what I do is, I choose like a color for the skin, and then I lock the layer and I choose a color for the shadows. And I usually color the eyes just with one color. I don't use a shade for them. Let's pick up something for the hair. I don't always recommend this, depends if you're doing sketches or whatnot. But many times I color the hair on the same layer of the skin. But obviously you don't have to do that. Like, you can make a new layer above the skin layer and color there. So that, like, if you make any mistakes, you don't have to deal with the skin layer. You can just erase and do whatever. Okay. Now, someone could just leave this like this. I mean, it's just a sketch, right? But if you want to change a few things, you can go to the line art layer and make sure that the layer is still locked and pick up some kind of lighter toned skin color and change the inner lines of the face. Just the inner lines, not the ones outside. This way it kind of blends a bit better with the skin. And you can also do that with the inner lines of the hair or the shirt if there was, you know, something there. Another thing that I usually do at this point, if I'm interested in making it a bit more defined, I merge both the line art and the color layers with Ctrl E, and then I work on the drawing from here. I know it can seem a bit scary to work on the actual drawing. In case you are scared, what you can do is you can duplicate the two layers, put them in a folder and hide the folder. So even though you are working on this layer, you still have the separate layers in another folder and you don't worry about losing something if you don't like what you're doing anymore. This is just like an example sketch, so I didn't do that for that reason. But sometimes if I feel that maybe merging the layers could become troublesome, I duplicate the layers and hide them inside a folder. What I'm doing now is I'm trying to make harsher lines. They don't look trembly because some of the lines here looked a bit too trembly for me. Okay. So it's a bit cleaner, as you can see. And just keep cleaning, you know, around until I'm satisfied with how it's looking. Okay, so what I was doing right now is just cleaning, changing little things, try to make it a bit more interesting. Okay. Here there is not much to do with the shirt. It's just a simple shirt. Yeah, but there you have it. I am not sure how long this took, maybe around half an hour, but I'm not sure. I can see right now. Yeah, it's like around half an hour, yeah. One last thing that I usually do is make a new layer with the overlay mod. And I pick up some kind of color, warm color here on the color wheel, like this. Use the fill bucket, and right now it's looking way too bright. So what I do is use Ctrl U to change the hue, saturation and luminosity. And I just play with the things that are there until I find something that I like. When I find something, I just use the overlay and change tiny things. And there we have it. So this was one of the processes that mostly I draw kind of like this. It depends on obviously if I'm drawing something more serious or not, but this is kind of the thought process of me drawing a bust, if we have to be specific. So if you are still watching, thanks for watching first of all, and sorry for my difficult way to articulate my thoughts. Maybe next time I will try to have a time lapse and maybe a scripted commentary instead of me just talking about whatever. Again, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good day, and see ya!